The NCAA tournament, as Pat Forty just laid out, the little guy has no place. It's all for the elites. It's all for the best financed.
Moments later.
This has all been eliminated through this elitist, globalist system that hates American values and hates Christian values and wants to destroy a system that consistently proved, an American system that consistently proved that one man or woman coming from nothing, if they adhered to certain values, if they were willing to work harder than everybody else, if they were willing to be smarter, more disciplined than everybody else, they could rise all the way to the top.
Thank you! Bam! Keep spreading the truth about March Madness, Jason Whitlock. That's what every real sports fan is saying right now. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the March Madness tournament getting blasted for lacking Cinderella stories. Florida, Auburn, Houston, and Duke were the 4 teams that made it into the Final Four this season. Obviously, all of those teams were the number 1 seed in their respective regions. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Did NIL and the transfer portal ruin Cinderella stories in March Madness? For the people that were hoping for me to say no to this question, that is not going to happen. I am going to say yes to this question. NIL and the transfer portal ruined Cinderella stories in March Madness. Now, I'm not going to say that Cinderella has been killed. I believe Cinderella will come back at some point in college basketball, but do I see it happen in the foreseeable future? Not really. I believe that Cinderella stories will be harder to see in college basketball, mainly because all the mid-major programs are going to be losing good players due to the transfer portal. The transfer portal has allowed guys to join richer schools. The rich get richer. That's how the system works. With the way how NIL and the transfer portal works right now, it is a complete anarchy. Jason Whitlock is absolutely right. They killed Cinderella because of money. Money is everything in college athletics. Matter of fact, money is everything in society. A lot of things in society are dictated by money, and it seems like it has now gone into the athletics world. That's why you see college athletes getting paid more than ever. And look, I get it. I support these athletes getting paid. They got to put bread on the table for their families. However, as a fan, I have to say to myself, can they not regulate the system more? Can they not put a salary cap on the NIL? Can they not make a limit on how many times a player can transfer? It is getting ridiculous to see a player be able to transfer 3 times within a 4-year span. How do you expect the teams to develop any chemistry whatsoever? College basketball has turned into a top-heavy sport. That is problematic because college basketball prides themselves on parity. That's how you have crazy upsets happening. You don't have that happening anymore. What was the biggest upset in March Madness this year? Clemson losing. But to be completely honest, a lot of people thought Clemson would lose in the round of 64. I wasn't one of those people. I thought Clemson would go pretty far myself, but we all knew that Clemson was a boom or bust team, so it wasn't even really that shocking. You don't see teams like Loyola, Chicago making runs anymore. You don't see teams like St. Petersburg making upsets anymore because it is hard to develop any kind of chemistry whatsoever. Those stories seem like they're a thing of the past because whenever they play well for a mid-major program, what happens? They end up hitting the transfer portal at the end of the season and they end up getting picked up by some rich school. That's how you get teams like Duke and Alabama playing dominant basketball. Look, I understand Duke was dominant before the NIL era existed, but it's even easier for Duke to recruit more so than ever because if they miss out on talent, they can just go ahead and pick up a guy in the transfer portal when the season is over. It's incredibly frustrating to see that as a sports fan. I also want to show you guys this clip of Jeff Pearlman talking about the state of March Madness. I found his takes rather interesting. I believe a lot of people would agree with Jeff Pearlman's takes. Roll the film.
I'm just going to be blunt. This March Madness tournament has sucked. And for me, I love March Madness because I love the first round and usually the second round. I love seeing Vermont beat Syracuse. I love seeing Drexel beat Memphis. I love seeing Valpo go on a run. I love seeing UMBC or St. Peter's. And what has changed over the last bunch of years with NIL, with transfer rules, those two things mainly, is mid-majors are now just feeder systems to bigger schools. So example, if a Malik Rose came along now at Drexel, he would probably play 2 years at Drexel and transfer to Duke or North Carolina or Syracuse or wherever. And you would never have time to develop. The one superpower that schools like Drexel had, that schools like St. Peter's had, whatever school you name, is they would bring in these lineups that had been together for 2, 3, 4 years, and they'd play a team like Kentucky stacked with freshmen. And yeah, Kentucky would be more talented, but these schools were together and they knew each other and they had really high court IQs and they would move the ball and they weren't just hucking threes. And that was super, super fun. It almost was a clash of cultures. The one and done team versus the mid-major with less talent, but more togetherness and cohesion. Well, now those mid-majors are being strip-mined, and even Division II schools are being strip-mined. And all of a sudden, mid-majors are just feeders to bigger schools. The problem is now when mid-majors make the tournament, they're just going to get stomped because their best players are now playing for the big schools. I don't know the answer to this. I just know I went to Delaware. Delaware almost reached the NCAA tournament this year as a 12 seed in the Colonial Conference. They had a star freshman who was awesome. In the past, you'd be like, holy shit, this guy, watch out for Delaware over the next few years. And now it's like, watch out to see where he's going to go this offseason when he gets a big NIL deal and winds up playing for Cincinnati. It just sucks, but it is what it is.
Correct! Those were good takes made by Jeff Pearlman. Don't listen to what ESPN and Fox Sports is telling you about March Madness right now. They're telling you that NIL and the transfer portal have made the product better, but absolutely not. I miss being able to see teams like FAU being able to make deep runs. I know some people are going to tell me that, oh, it's better for Cinderella teams to not make a run because they end their season in blowout fashion in the Final Four. But you have to think about the journey that these guys go through year to year. The journey is what makes March Madness fun. It's not about having great Final Fours. It's not about having a great national championship game. Those events are nice to have in terms of having the sport be competitive, but most people love March Madness because of the crazy upsets that occur within the first 2 rounds of March Madness. Or you have some team going on a Cinderella run where they make it to the Elite 8 or the Sweet 16 or the Final Four or whatever round they end up going. It certainly makes compelling stories for college basketball. That is no longer the case in college basketball. I feel like most of the people that follow college basketball nowadays either follow it because they truly love college basketball, or more than likely they are probably following it for gambling purposes. I was at the bar on Saturday night watching the Bama Duke game. I really lost interest in the second half of the ball game because I knew Duke was going to beat Bama in dominating fashion. I was hoping Bama would win as a Tar Heels fan, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew the only way Bama was going to beat Duke was if they were going to go ahead and get red hot from three-point line, but obviously that didn't happen. Duke dominated the boards, they dominated the game. I was quite frankly bored by the second half. Seeing the NIL and transfer portal being used in anarchy fashion has made mid-major programs worse. It hasn't made them better. It's just really made the rich schools get better. That's why there's a major gap between the top teams and the rest of the world in college basketball. The Final Four is basically consisted of teams that spent the most amount of money, and obviously when you have those instances occurring, that is not healthy for the sport of college basketball. You don't get to see teams like FAU and San Diego State going on magical runs anymore. It's disappointing to see as a fan. I love seeing magical runs occur, but it's not happening this year. So that is why the NIL and transfer portal have ruined Cinderella stories in March Madness, as rich schools are going to continue getting richer in this format of the college athletics world. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinStran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinStran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinStran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.